So continued on in Ecclesiastes today. I read chapters 3 through 5, and there was some really awesome stuff. So in chapter 3, he starts by saying there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. So every single routine and event that happens in this life, we have got to trust and rest in him with his timing. And what I gathered from this is we either accept his timetable that he has, or we're going to be crushed by it. And, he goes on to say in verse 11 that he has made everything beautiful in its time. And there is a time and a place for every single thing. And it might not be the time that I like, but it's God's time. It's not my time. And that is such a hard thing to remember because I'm so impatient and I want it on my time. But how beautiful things are when they're not on my time. And I think about that often with, being with my husband, how beautiful things were when I waited on his time. And I liked how right after that he reminded me of, how finite we are as human beings. He said he has set an eternity in the human heart, but yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I have felt guilty before not being able to wrap my mind around what all God has done. And, I work hard to do that in my life from beginning to end. But when you think about from the beginning of time, all the way through now and into the future, all the wonderful and beautiful things God has done. And that's so hard to wrap your mind around because he has done so much. And even the smallest of smallest things, he does that. And it just made me feel better that, he doesn't expect us to. Like, it's okay that I can't wrap my mind around it, but I'm trying. I'm still going to do my best, but it's okay that maybe my mind doesn't get there. And then another verse says, I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing can be taken from it. Nothing that we do is going to change God's ultimate plan and purpose. And to think that we can is meaningless. Like, we're not going to change God's mind. He's got it made up. And so I thought that was good, a good reminder. And then I also liked, it says in verse 16, in the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. Life is not fair sometimes. It's just not. And sometimes justice in our mind is not served. And it happens all the time. Like, just watch the news. And it was comforting to remember that timing that they talk about in this chapter. God is going to bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. So every deed, every good and bad deed is going to be judged and accounted for. And there will be a time for that. And maybe it's not on the time that I like, but there is a time, a beautiful time that God has for judging every deed, both good and bad. And that was a great reminder for me. And then into chapter 4, the real common part of it is talking about two being better than one. And how true this is. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. If two lie down together, they will keep them warm. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Me and my husband have talked about this sometimes about how we don't have a ton of friends. And, we have some, but we didn't pour into relationships and create those friendships that, in hindsight, we kind of wish we had. And I like to remember that this is not just talking about marriage. This is talking about friendships. Two is better than one. Yes, my marriage, that has helped me grow more than anything because I've got that companionship in my husband, and he's going to help me. He's going to push me through, but he is going to help me up when I fall down. He's going to lie down with me and keep me warm. He's going to do those things, and I have that companionship through him, which I couldn't do without. And God knew that from the beginning. He knew we needed that companionship. That's why he didn't leave Adam alone. And I think that's important to remember that, yes, I have that through my husband, but companionship in general with friendships, I mean, the point of them is to grow and put two heads together and, move towards the Lord and be there when each other needs, the other one. And I just think that was a good reminder. So much of this, I've realized where I fall short, and there's always room to grow in all things. And this has been a great reminder of the places that, I want to work on and get better at. And so that was one thing that I like to read. In chapter 5, it talked about not being quick with your mouth and don't be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. I've caught myself doing this before. And so that's what I said. Some of this just hits me in the face because I have fallen short. Going to church, going to worship, and your mind not being there on the word. And, sometimes I've went in there and I've caught myself thinking about a lineup for softball or something. Like, my mind is not where it needs to be. That is so meaningless. And if we're not there to have meaningful worship and meaningful time with the Lord, then why are we there? And it even says in chapter 5, verse 5, it's better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you to sin. Think before you speak and make decisions. Don't make hasty decisions that are meaningless because you're not being sincere. Like, if you make a vow and then break it, you're creating sin that you didn't have to create if you were sincere with your words from the start. And I think that that's an important reminder that, going through the motions and saying meaningless words is absolutely pointless, and it creates sin that didn't need to be there. And so that was, an important thing that hit me, like, be meaningful and purposeful whenever I'm doing things for the Lord, because I might be fooling everybody else, but I'm sure not fooling him. But to wrap things up, the last thing that just absolutely hit me in the face was in chapter 5, verse 10. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. I can't tell you how many conversations with my husband that we've had about money. And I can't tell you how many times I've said to somebody, if I just had a little bit more money, so many of my problems would be gone. Like, just a little bit more. I don't have to be rich. I just need some money. And that is creating a love for money that is never going to be fulfilled. Like, no matter, I could hit the lottery tomorrow, and then a month later I'll be like, well, if I just had, just a little bit more. I'm never going to be satisfied. And that is so important. Because money is, a big thing in this world, and at least in our family, we talk about it. And, it's such a pointless, like, I will never be fulfilled with money. And losing that focus and purpose in my life towards the Lord to think about money, fixing it. Like, money's not going to do anything for my relationship with God. Money is going to fix earthly problems that are meaningless. And so I just thought that was a good thing to end on today, because how many times have I caught myself saying, well, money, that would fix this problem. And it doesn't. It might fix that problem, but I'm going to have a new problem later. And that was just a big thing for me. So we will continue reading tomorrow. I keep saying I'm going to make a shorter video, but I always talk too long. But I enjoy this time. So happy Tuesday. God bless. It's game day. It's going to be a great day.